This is Memorial Magazine. In this edition, first-year students talk about the transition from high school to university. Each year brings a new flock of first-year students to Memorial University. These students come from all parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. Whether students come from St. John's or from Makkovik, first-year university is a time of major change in their lives. It is a time of independence and of challenge, a time of major adjustment. This program looks at some of the reactions of university students to their first year at Memorial. Change Islands lies in Notre Dame Bay, far from the noise and confusion of the big city. It is a 20-minute ferry ride from the mainland. For Suzanne and Peter Porter and their family, it is home. This is a very significant time in the life of the Porter family.
We got a daughter here now, our oldest daughter, Robin. She's going to university now, a couple of days' time. And we're sure going to miss her.
Well, Friday I'm leaving for St. John's, and I'm going in and look at university, and just fix my stuff away at the boarding house where I'm going to stay. Well, I'll just, go around St. John's for a little while. I haven't really been inside the university myself, so I'm looking forward to going in and seeing the inside of the university and the library and everything like that. Yeah, just yeah, get on it.
I don't see where there's anything here for young people. The fishery is gone, and there's nothing for a young person, I don't think, to get into, So I think she should go away and further her career and get into something that she could have a lifetime career at. And I think Robin can do it. She seems to be a very nice girl. She got a good head on her shoulders, and I think she can do it.
I got a cousin in there, so I can go and ask her, if I got any questions or whatever. She said she can help me. I'm looking forward to it, in a way. And then, well, I don't know, just leaving home is hard, and then adjusting to university life. It's going to be hard, but I guess I'll do it.
Hi, you're Robin Perth. All right, they've got recommended courses for you. What kind of program are you going to follow?
I was thinking about nursing.
Bachelor of Nursing.
Yeah.
Nursing, they want you to do math. You can do 1050, you see, instead of 1080 or 1000, which are more difficult courses. I suggest the 1050.
Okay.
I really do, right? That's so that'll give you a math 1050. Let me just see what the official number of it is. 570, 1050. And I think you'll find that a better course for you, okay, for math 1050. But it's still a difficult course. All math courses are difficult first year. And really, you've got 2 sciences, and a math and an English, and these are difficult courses to do. So what you may find in the first couple of weeks is that you may want to, for example, go down to English Foundation here or something.
Yeah.
It's possible you might, and you should talk to your advisor during the first couple of weeks if you have any difficulty. You're going to be assigned an advisor later on today. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is your list of courses now from your interviewer. And you take them to the Thompson Student Centre, the tunnel entrance, and you'll be registered for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's
it for you.
Okay.
Good luck. Good semester. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Like, yes, there's a big difference. I mean, come from a fishing stage in here to, like, you know, streets and, and malls and all this. I didn't find it hard to adjust to the city so much as adjusting to university, because, like, I graduated with 8 people in my class, right? And I came in here and went in psychology. I had 185 people in my class. I was like, major shock, right? I don't know, like, I didn't even know anything about metro buses, how to, you know, what you had to do when you got on them or anything, right? So I don't know, I just like asked people, okay, like, you know, what do you have to do when you get on a bus or whatever? You know, coming from a small town, you don't know anything like that, and how do you expect to know, right? Like the first day, I didn't even know where the cafeteria was, where to get anything to drink, or anything like that. I was just lost, and I was standing here for a full day and didn't even know where anything was.
Darrell Fitzgerald is from Riverhead, St. Mary's Bay. During his first year at Memorial, he lived in an apartment near the university.
A major factor is accommodations. You got to be somewhere like where you've got access to the university, because if you live far away, you got additional expenses like a bus pass every month, because you can't walk in the winter where it's so cold and everything like that, right? So residence is one factor. I considered residence first, but I was warned by several friends not to, like, because it's always noisy and stuff like that. And on the weekends you can't do nothing because it's always partying on the weekends at residence after all week. Well, there's a lot of new responsibilities. Like, for instance, when I'm back home in high school, every morning I was woke up at breakfast time. Mom would get up and she'd cook my breakfast, and then it was cooked. I'd wake up and I'd eat it. But now out here, I gotta get up, I gotta get my own breakfast. I gotta come home when I got breaks, I gotta cook my own dinner. I gotta do dishes. Back home, the teachers, you know, if you didn't do your homework, you got detention. You know, if you went several times without it, you got more severe punishment. But out here, you don't go to classes and your prof won't say to you, you know, did you do your homework? They don't, you know, they're there to teach. They got a certain amount to do in a certain amount of time. They got to do that. And it's up to you to learn what they teach you, because they got to cover so much for the final exams. And once they get that covered, it's up to you to know it. If you don't know it, well, it'll be reviewed in your final mark.
Michelle Breen, a former resident of Goose Bay, is also in her first year at Memorial. Unlike Darrell Fitzgerald, Michelle feels that there are strong advantages to living in residence.
Then as you get to meet other people and you learn that they're going through the same things, especially through living in residence, that's what I found one of the best things, is because all the girls on your floor you get to know pretty well, and it becomes sort of like a family. And once you get over the first few weeks of it and you get in and you start to know everyone, then all of that sort of starts to go away and you get to settle into your everyday routine, and it becomes a part of you. The best thing about living in residence is that your life pretty well exists on campus. So everyone else is going through the same thing that you are, and everyone else realizes that everyone has work to do, and there's times to party and there's times to be serious and buckle down and work. Concerning social life, my dad has a saying, and he says, Michelle, he says, honey, the ones that you see going across the square every day with a case of beer in their hand, they're the ones that aren't going to be around next semester. And my dad knows that because he went through university himself. And I think that's true. You've got to have, you can't study all the time, and you can't go out and you can't party all the time. You've got to have a balance.
Both Michelle and Darrell decided to attend a special course called MUN 101. This is a basic survival course for first-year students. Tom Brophy, a fourth-year student, describes the course, which has been in operation for a number of years.
It offered staff and faculty members who were willing to teach to first-year students about how to adjust to a memorial experience, and taught them such things as handling finances, roommates, academics, professors, stress, relaxing, health, everything. It covered the whole spectrum. And the thing is, it was great in that it actually allowed the students to decide their own academic program. So basically, they decided where they were going. And this year and last year, they've started to advance the program even further so that their students actually in charge of teaching other students, which is where I came in this year, because myself and another student, Kelly White, took over a class with a pile of first-year students, and I think it went really well. They could relate to us, and we could certainly relate to what they were going to. Like, only this class is free. This is the only thing you will have free on campus. Ever. Okay? Ever. There's a certain way to survive at MUN, okay? It's not at the high school level anymore where they know you, right? It's not, you know, oh, hi, Darryl, how are you doing? Like, a lot of them probably don't even care how Darryl is doing. I mean, really, I don't care how Darryl is doing. But, I mean, where you sit to at the front, the prof will recognize you, right? And that'll mean a lot. It's brownie points, as we'll call it.
When you go into your class, you should be prepared. And by being prepared, you should have read the material for that class. And you should also have your pen and your paper ready to start taking notes, because if you don't bring, you know, the right materials to class with it, then obviously you're unprepared, and this can create enough confusion that you're distracted because you're looking, you know, do you got a pen there, or do you got a piece of paper I can write on? So, I mean, this, right away your concentration is broken before you even start.
There's no such thing as going to MUN. You don't just go to your community and leave. You know, you don't just say, like, yeah, I go in there at 8 o'clock in the night and I'll leave at, 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't do that. You're a part of it. Okay, you've got to remember, this is a community of 17,000 people, a community. You don't go to a community and leave a community, you become part of it. And you get out of it what you put into it.
Jackie McCann is a first-year student from Bay Roberts.
And the only word I could think of was lonely. The first week was lonely. What I dreaded most was dinner time, because you had to eat, and most times you didn't know where any of your friends were, and you found yourself sitting amongst a room with strangers, and you're there and you're wondering, what are they thinking? I'm here by myself, right? And that was the one thing, that's the only word I was, well, actually not just the first week, for about a month I was going around, and that's all I could say was, it's so lonely. The work, yes, it was an adjustment, but the loneliness was the biggest thing that stood out the first few weeks.
As a first-year student coming from Labrador, Dee Dee Saunders found the transition to university life difficult at first.
When I first came to MUN, I felt like a little speck of dust because I came from a fairly small school, I think. It was the bigger high school in Goose Bay, but still it was small and everyone knew each other. Then when I came here, you didn't know anyone. You could walk down the hall and never see a familiar face for the first couple of weeks. And after a few weeks, you look like an old pro. I think after a couple of weeks, no one can tell the difference between a first-year student and a second or third-year student as far as finding their way around.
Getting to know how to use the library was my downfall, because I didn't know where I had to go to find books. I didn't know anything. But like I said, I just asked someone, they showed me, and then I got onto it. And that was it. Last term, my English professor, she gave us a tour of the library, and she showed us how to find books and, how to find different sections and whatever, right? So that was helpful. I liked that.
The only thing is you have a lot more work to do on your own. Your profs expect you to have certain things covered when you come to class, and that's basically the difference. Whatever free time you have, you devote to your schoolwork. Whereas in high school, whatever you learn in class could pretty well get you a pass. But whatever you get here, you earn. You work harder for it, because you only have probably 4 hours of lectures at the most a week. That's what I found to be the biggest difference. You have a lot more freedom, and you have to set your own guidelines and be a lot more disciplined with yourself.
Well, the workload itself in university is tremendously increased compared to that of high school. It's like in high school what you learn in one semester, which is 3 months, you do out here in basically 5 to 6 weeks.
First year students coming in have to keep everything in perspective. They definitely have to set their priorities before they come in here and realize that the work starts at day one and it ends when exams are finished in December or April. If you think you're going to just study before finals, you're in for a rude awakening because the standards here are high and you'll be weeded out awful fast.
The MUN marks will drop a lot more than high school. Generally 15 to 20% they'll go down, and for any parents, especially if you're ambitious parents, they take this the wrong way, and they feel that their students are not working as hard. And you know, there's times when they won't be, but there's times when they are. But I mean, the change is so overwhelming that marks will go down, and the marking system is so overwhelming, and the attitude of the profs compared to their teachers in high school is certainly a dramatic change for them. And, I mean, a lot of times the students feel intimidated that they can't approach the professors and everything. So it's also good to come in with a nice, confident approach, which I think it's important to get instilled in them very early in their semesters.
If you do your work from Sunday to Thursday, there's no problem going on a weekend. I mean, I would not be able to stay in 7 nights a week and study. I mean, you can't do that. You have to have a life besides, away from school.
I figure if I work from Monday to Thursday, hard work, I mean, all day long, when Friday comes, it's my day. I only have 1 class in the morning, it's my day. I don't do anything. I don't care if I have something to do Monday, I don't do anything. Saturday afternoon, I do some work. Saturday night, I go out. Sunday, I do work as well. But I find that I look forward to Friday and Saturday night so much, it's not funny. And when Monday comes around, I'm totally refreshed, and I don't mind putting 4 or 5 hard days of work in then.
And now some of these people, you know, they're putting everything off, and so they're not getting the work done. And then they'll go home, and they'll complain that they're not getting the work done, they're falling behind, but yet the cause of it is because of their freedom. You know, they're not putting their time into their studies. There's so much other things to do, like visit stores, like in the mall, and you go downtown to the bars, everything like that. There's just so much more to do out here than there is back home.
If you want to go out to the mall or go to a movie, I mean, the opportunity is there. You just got to discipline yourself and say, okay, I got to study tonight. And you just got to make up your own mind.
It hits home when you actually realize that you yourself are responsible now for what you're doing. And that's a major, major shock to first-year students, to actually realize that, oh my God, I'm now making my own decisions which affect me. I know that's when I kind of snapped out of and woke up. I mean, the second year for me was like the middle stage between utter confusion and chaos for the first term to starting to balance things out for the second year.
I really feel a change in myself. I think you have to change in a lot of ways. And ironically, my best thing comes out of what I view as my worst, because the pace at which you do things and the way in which you do it and the responsibility is immense. But from that comes a lot of positive, because you grow up and you mature and you learn to handle anything that life can throw at you. That's one thing. I'd go to university for that alone. Of course I go for the degree, but for the maturing, I'd go, for that in itself.
I think the first advice I'd give anyone coming into university is don't get too stressed out over it. That's the number 1 thing. That's what I did in the beginning. Trying to, like, I came out of high school with a 94 average and graduated with honors. And I came in here expecting, not 90s, mind you, but like at least 80s, possibly 70s. But I'm beginning to realize now that in university, it's a whole different ballgame. And if you can't get 80s or A's, then B's are okay. And even C's, there's nothing wrong with in your first semester. And also, like, do what's right for you. If you don't like a course and you find out right away, then drop it. Don't stay in a course that you don't like, because it doesn't help you in the long run. Also, don't listen to your faculty advisor, but don't let them make your decisions for you.
I think it's important for older students to help the newcomers, because when you come here, this is a big change, especially people from small communities. I know, even coming from Goose Bay, which isn't a whole lot smaller, it's still hard because we know everyone there and we know where everything is and where to find things. Then you come to a city and you don't know where anything is, you don't know how to find your way around. When you have somebody to help, it makes it a lot easier.
So often people from outside of St. John's, when they hear about university, they hear about it from people who dropped out or who couldn't make it. And so obviously I don't think they're actually getting the lighter side of the university. I mean, the university is a community and it's a caring community. And if you're hearing for somebody who didn't like the community, then obviously you're not going to hear the truth about the community. So I mean, I think that you've got to break down those stereotypes, tell people to relax, to ask questions, to not be intimidated by the professors. And once that's done, then I mean, you're a step further. And then if you'll actually stop to think about it, then if you're not intimidated by your surroundings and you're not afraid to ask questions, then it's actually more like high school, which is what it's all about. You know, it's breaking down the barriers between high school and university.
In your first year, the right balance.
The right balance, and that's, I think, the challenge of the first year is finding that balance, isn't it? You know? Yeah.
My name's Charlie Callanan. I'm one of the producers of Memorial Magazine. I'm talking now to Joe Byrne. Joe is the assistant registrar at the university and also the manager of admissions. Joe, in the program at the end there, Tommy Brophy says, Memorial is a caring community. Is it a caring community, or is it a very impersonal kind of place, or does that depend on how you perceive it?
Good question, Charlie. It's got to be a caring community. We as administrators, if you want, of the university have really no choice but to care about our students. We have to care about our students because the success of the students who come through this institution is a direct reflection on the reputation of the university, of the institution as a whole. So the more students we have who come in and fulfill their goals, achieve their degrees, who are able to go out into the community and reflect positively back on the institution, the better we like it. If we don't care about them when they graduate, or if they graduate, or if they quit, or whatever, because we don't care about them, it reflects negatively on the institution itself. One of the things that was brought up, I thought, very, very nicely in the program was the difference between the context that students would find themselves in high school and the context that they would find themselves in university, where it's not unusual, for example, in high school for teachers to take active interest in the students to the point where they're asking them if they have any problems. Are you having difficulty with math? Are you having some kind of problems outside of the school that's causing you to experience academic problems? Unfortunately, the numbers at an institution such as Memorial University prohibit us from actively seeking whether a student has problems or not. So we really depend to a large extent on the student coming to us. We are caring. As you said before, it is a very caring community, but we have to be made aware that there's a problem, and we really depend to a large extent on the student coming and asking. The more you become involved in the academic life, but also the extracurricular life of the university, the better you'll find it.
Well, that certainly is good advice, and as a final word to all those students who are coming into university, I'm sure, Joe, you would share this thought with me and this wish that all of them will do well, that they will realize their ambitions and their hopes and have a good year for their first year at Memorial University.